Hey, what's up, Street Talks? Eric from the Eric from Street Photography blog. So I'm just gonna share with you some random thoughts I had while chilling at CVS, which is like one of the local pharmacies. So essentially, I'm just trying to strive for this human forward or this human-centric approach. Is that I was walking around CVS and there's a trillion types of products from dish to soaps and Kleenex and whatever. And I actually realized that in terms of the products that I found most interesting, generally they had faces on it. So for example, like the Gerber baby, it's a baby's face, or even like Aunt Jemima, face on that. And so generally, and I think this was a kind of more an old school thing, is that like a lot of products used to have faces, like Newman's Own and so forth. And as a human, we're all human. We tend to be most interested in other human beings and other human faces. And I was even looking at this magazine, People magazine, and a lot of people criticize this. Celebrity gossip, so stupid, blah blah. But actually, I was kind of like, I thought it was a good idea in the sense that I think it's better for us humans to be obsessed with other humans or interested in people or people like things, rather than what I consider a sign of our societal degeneracy, which is this over obsession with stuff, right? We're all obsessed with, fancy cars, fancy clothes, and, fancy devices, fancy cameras, blah, blah. But I think what we should strive to is to find inspiration in great human beings. So, even a lot of people who love philosophers, it's kind of nice to have a certain philosopher, artist, or thinker that you kind of look up to. And apparently some people are really into this idea of having these marble busts of these great individuals. Even for me, my laptop background is a photo, a screenshot from the movie 300, King Leonidas. Gerald Butler, I think, is six pack and is about to fight the Persians to his heroic death. Or even on my iPad, I have this sketch of the Farnese. I don't know how to pronounce it. Farnese Hercules, just a really buff image of Hercules, and I'm striving towards that goal. Or to look up to people like The Rock. One day if I could look like The Rock, I'd be very happy with that. And so, to focus on humans or people is very interesting, because perhaps rather than striving one day I could own a Ferrari or a Lambo or a McLaren or a BMW, whatever car you want, maybe it's just better to use all your money to just buy tons of meat, maybe not need to work so much, and just go to the gym and just get super duper jacked and look like The Rock. And it don't matter if you're a girl or a guy or whatever gender you are. Every single human being that lifts weights, has more muscle mass and less body fat percentage, looks better. And also you personally, you'll feel better. So if I had the option of being a trillionaire but being 600 pounds and barely able to walk, or I had a chance to be really, really poor but look like The Rock, of course I would prefer to look like The Rock. So that's one thing. Another thing that I was thinking about is, in terms of marketing or entrepreneurship, whatever, if you're gonna create a product or stuff like that, maybe it's better to associate your product, your personal brand, whatever, with your face or somebody's face, right? So to have a face behind a brand, I think it's actually a really smart strategy. In the past, we thought about Apple, we thought about Steve Jobs, right? Or maybe Jony Ive. But now that Steve Jobs dead, and I think Jony Ive's kind of left the company, he's still doing his consultant thing, whatever. But we need a more human-focused approach. And even in photography, obviously I like to take photos of landscapes and flowers, whatever. But we should also, I think this is where street photography is so great too, is that we find the human face, the human form, the most beautiful thing ever. And so this is even why I love Richard Avedon's work so much, is that he really found humans to be super beautiful. And he stripped out the background, which he thought was totally superfluous, and he focused on, capturing the maximal beauty of the human form, the human face, and of people. And so moving forward, some of my personal life goals is I'm going to strive to turn myself into the most epic individual possible. And I think this is even why we like watching movies or YouTube or whatever, is that we kind of like other humans. We like to see other people's talk and human dramas and so forth, human effort. Maybe I'm going to keep working out more, get jacked like The Rock, continue to read my favorite philosophers and so forth. And so maybe you can make the focus to, have more idols, have more people you look up to. You remember growing up there, talk about like role models and stuff like that. I think it's good to have role models or have certain people that you kind of look up to or aspire towards. And let's just continue to have a more human focused and a more human centered approach. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.